So I had a really good time at the conference. I actually met Patty. We're now email friends. And I didn't realize it was Patty at the conference when I was listening. And she actually responded back to a message I had. So it's kind of cool to see her and then meet her in person and and be able to ask questions, because she actually just responded back to a question I had. So that was kind of cool. But I think we do a lot of good things as far as that goes. And I think we even strive to do well on the dialogue style when we talk. I really do. I think we really strive to do that. So a lot of the things that she was talking about, I really feel that we strive to do those things. And I think that makes us a much better council, because when I was at the conference, listening to some individuals talk about their councils, oh my, it was crazy, some of the stuff that goes on there. But anyway, I just wanted to say that. Anybody else have any questions or comments about what we just watched? All right, hearing none, we'll go to the police report.
Should have the police report in your packet. Nothing out of the ordinary to note. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them if I can.
Page 7.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Beagle.
I'm reading down here, a total misdemeanor and felony arrest for the month of July tripled from the month of June. Do you have any idea what attributed to that?
I do not. I would have to go back and look at the stats to see exactly.
That's the only question I answered.
All right. Anybody else have a question about the police report? All right, so we'll go on to the building department report.
In your package, you can see that we're still selling lots of permits. We just have to be so excited about Boardman when you see the total this year for new construction of new homes. We're up to 21. You know, I mean, it used to take us years to get to 21 homes. So, yeah.
That was a
And
major bragging point for me when I went and talked to other mayors
yes,
about the growth that is going on in our community.
and you can see like at the mobile home setting, I mean, we're doing really well. And we need to be really happy for Irrigate when you look down there, because they have 7 new constructions. And when I say it's taken Boardman a long time, it's taken Irrigate a long time too. So you have to be really excited for your neighbors doing well. We're just now starting to do Gillum County. And, you know, we knew, you know, it's never gonna be, it's just a service, you know, it's never gonna be. But it's great to have that service.
Were there any questions about the building department report? Public Works Department.
I think that they just wanted to make sure that you've seen how busy they are. The very last paragraph, the Michelle Bird from the Oregon Health Authority Drinking Water Program was here for her 3-year. And she has been pressuring us probably in a nice way, saying you've got to start doing that backflow device testing, and there's certain things that you need. And so she was really pleased that we were moving forward and doing a lot of the things that she wants to. And as we grow, you know, as you grow, there's more stipulations for things. So we were happy that we had made her happy. So.
I wonder, you know how the police report and the Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. The building department and the police report have on month by month. And I was just wondering, I probably don't care so much about anything except for the meter reads. Like month to month, I can never remember what last month's meter reads were, but I think it's growing. I don't know, maybe 3 houses a month. Whatever's on the building permit.
Okay, we'll look at that.
I just,
They're not-
it's more about
well-
curiosity than it is anything.
Yes, and I think, what, didn't they say they set 4 new meter installs? So I guess you'd have to think that maybe.
There was 971 last month.
Yeah, but I don't know that, so no, we'll try to figure that out.
I'm always kind of curious and I don't remember.
Well, and I think that's really a good subject, because I keep trying to evaluate how busy public works are. And, you know, when you say, okay, we set 100 new meters this year, that has to account for time. You know, then you have to read them, you know, then if there's a break, you know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it gives you kind of an idea of what our growth is, so.
All right. Moving right along, we'll go to, I think it's city manager report.
Okay, and
Even though it's at the front of the page. No, I actually appreciate that it's at the front of the pack, I do.
well, I want to start you off so that I hope you at least read the front page, no. I tried to keep you up to date, I mentioned in here that, the Yates rep I've gotten the right away from them. I spoke to Fletcher, Hobbs, and Devin today. And Fletcher sent me his, so I've gotten Fletcher's. Devin thought he'd already sent his in, so I'm sure I'll get it in the next day or two. And we'll go out and get Ed Lenz tomorrow, the next day. So we'll open the bids Thursday on Laurel Lane. And so I'm anxious to see I'm anxious for the bids to come in. The bid package, we're bidding the east side, and any extra work we would do on the west side will be done as a change order. Because when we had the pre-construction bid, the contractor said that they cannot work, and if all we can get is the 20-foot or 30-foot right of way that we already have, that they can't work in that space. You can't drive equipment, dig holes and do all that in 20 feet. So unless we can make other agreements with the folks on the west side, we'll just have to wait till they want to be, you know.
You don't need to be doing anything over there yet.
Yeah, and so, you know, and you've seen my notes about if they end up the power company, because I think the power company doesn't think they particularly would have rolling blackouts, but they have no control over what BPA does. And so, you know, it was nice to know that, you know, like we have water and sewer service in Boardman. Even if we have enough generating power for the, so that we can keep our community going. And then we'll be looking at getting some kind of a generator here before long for the city hall, because that's always been on our wish list, and so hopefully.
Yeah, because we kind of talked about that today. We just kind of need to figure out how to get that done.
Well, and I'm hoping maybe from some of this ARPA money or whatever, I mean, I'd really like for it to, somebody else to pay for it. So I'm gonna wait, and there'll be guidelines when that money comes on what we can spend on. And I'm thinking, I know the mayor and I spoke today, and we need a workshop, and he was thinking December, and I think we're gonna need a shorter workshops, just because she mentioned our goals and I have plenty of them. But I probably need to relay them to you, and so we can sit down and, because we haven't done that yet as a council, so it's getting time. So we'll either have to decide if we wanna start a couple hours early some evening, or if we wanna have a different day, or think about it so that we know, because there's just so many things going on right now that, yeah, we need to look at spending money and not spending money.
Right, because we were kind of talking about trying to figure out how we can focus some of our, what we wanted to do. And to when we do a workshop, not have it on such a grand scheme, but like pick a topic that we want to address. We could all come up and say, okay, if it was transportation, if it was roads or whatever. So our goal or our focus for the meeting would be that one thing is what I was thinking of, so that we wouldn't spend a lot of time on something that's maybe beyond what we could reasonably do in a specific amount of time. So it doesn't take 3 meetings.
Is December like the soonest workings on something like that we could do? I mean, I know there's a lot that goes into preparing, extra time that we set aside for doing something like that, but.
The only reason I said December, because school gets out in the middle. And so that was the only reason I said that, but there's a lot of other opportunities that we could do. We were just brainstorming.
Right, well, my only, okay, if you want to have some, I have plenty of thought processes on how to spend money. I mean, don't ever kid yourself, I got it planned. But if we get this money from the ARPA money, I think you need to be part of the process in deciding, maybe, oh, this looks like a good project, or maybe we should do that, because like I say, I'm making a list of things that maybe we could spend that money on, and I think as a group, we need to decide, like, oh, 500,000, we could pave something maybe. Oh, no, we can't. They're not gonna let us do transportation, so forget that. But anyway, so there's things that, so if when the money comes, then we'll decide if we need to have a meeting and what the topic should be. There's a vacancy on the planning commission, so if you know of anyone that would be interested in the planning commission, there's a vacancy there. Today, I hired Carla McLean as a consultant for us and had her put out an RFP for, we spoke about our system development charges and how we need to restructure them and look at them and see if we want to do transportation and parks and stuff. So the RFP was due on Friday, and so we opened it this morning, and we only had one, and we weren't surprised at that. There really is only one company in this whole area that has expertise. And their quote was $25 under 50,000, because 50,000 was the limit. And so, and that's what these studies cost you nowadays. I mean, they put out a really nice timeline and things. And they have to list what employees they put to the project, how much time they expect to spend, and what our end will be, like what kind of. And the other thing is that was nice in this, the Hermiston and Umatilla both have just used them recently. So they're really familiar with our area, and that saves us a lot of money in the end, having them be familiar, so.
At this conference, I found out how inexpensive our system development charges really are.
That's
It
right.
was incredible, the amount of it. there were places that were $40,000 total for a system development charge. It was crazy, crazy. And they just said, well, if they don't want to pay it, they don't have to live here.
Well, and you know, what's really interesting about this, and you know, maybe I'll send you the last 2 pages. This, that has Umatilla and Hermiston's, kind of their overview, because, and I think this will be our case, that when we get the facts in, we might not want to charge what the recommended, you know, full bore is. And we didn't, in the beginning, we didn't. I mean, we've never charged what they said we should charge. But it's kind of interesting, their summary. I will, I'll send these, I'll scan these and send them to you.
I'd like that.
So that you can have a little process in that. But,
Yes, Barry, you had something?
Yeah, one of the nice things that from their proposal was the willingness to look at alternatives. We currently operate under an equivalent dwelling unit, which is based on population. But there's several other ways that you can do that. With the transportation, I'm flying kind of blind, but I'm thinking it's going to be based on average daily trips. We have that well defined, so it's a host of different construction types, commercial, residential, so we can figure out. It's trying to do it by the EDU method for water and sewer. You never know how many employees are going to have. You never, you know, there's supposed to go to a single family residential unit number of 276 gallons a day for sewer and 300 for water. So it's really hard to figure out the industrial. Last one we did was 20 years ago.
Let's see, moving on, counselors, any counselor comments? Yes,
What's happening down at the old South Shell?
Where?
The old South Shell, the old BP.
they're digging out the tanks and just
so
getting all
the
that.
facts are already out.
It looked like they took the footings for like around the nomad or took something.
Oh, well, you remember when that burnt?
I
They
do.
just buried all that stuff in that hole. So DEQ is saying clean the lot. So, and like I say, when I talked to Devin this morning, I said, hey, anyway, I said, hey, you know, the rumor is that you're gonna start something here this fall. And you know, you might ought to get your plans in and get to going on that, because it takes us, it's not like an overnight thing anymore in Boardman. And he said, oh, I said, no, something like 6 months. And he said, oh, you don't really mean 6 months. And I said, no, I'm just exaggerating a bit, but you
But it
need,
could be 3 to 4,
Yes,
depending on
and-
how complicated it is.
yes, and.
Because he hasn't, they haven't
Nothing.
applied for any permits.
Yeah, we have nothing.
Planning commission thinks they know what they're doing, but,
Oh, they,
or I should say, planning, people who are on the planning commission.
I had talked to someone who was part of the crew over at the lodge, and he said that they were gonna pull up a gas tank and put down another one, as far as he knew.
like I said, that's all rumor. Tell you, they bring a plan in here.
Correct.
You don't, and I try hard not to repeat rumors. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the community know that. And so I'm waiting for Devin to bring some plan and get these permits, but it'd be great.
Maybe I should write an email to Devin.
It doesn't, you're more than welcome to, but
No, just to see if you'd tell me.
he won't tell you.
Okay.
I can tell you he won't tell you. Do you know how many times I've called Devin?
You're not the mayor.
Oh,
Okay.
it is on now.
You
You actually caused her to be quiet.
I'm just having
No,
fun.
he caused me to stutter and not say what I was thinking.
I was very quiet.
It's all good. If it,
Oh, my evaluation is next.
That's a real,
is that supposed to be?
That's not a rumor.
that's a real stutter.
When is that supposed to be?
Well, we're gonna have
Tonight,
an
we're
executive
gonna have a
session, I'm gonna
discussion.
talk to you about it, and we'll do.
Oh, I guess I didn't look at that part, I'm sorry, yeah, it's right there. Any other counselors? I have nothing for mayor, so, at this time, I'll adjourn the meeting.
No, you won't.
No.
You have to put it in
So-
recess.
So I'm closing the meeting to go to executive session, and then we'll end up coming out of executive session and closing the meeting.
And we think there'll be no decisions made
And we think there will be no decisions made
whenever we come back.
when we come back, thank you.
But you do have to.
I appreciate you. No, I appreciate people being able
You have to
to.
get the ORSs
Say
and
what?
why you're going to executive session.
Yeah, read why you're going.
Okay, before we go to our executive session, we're gonna go to our session to talk about ORS 192.6602I, city manager evaluation, and ORS 192.6602D, labor negotiations. And then and then we should
You're in
stop.
recess.
Okay, and we're in recess.
I have
Should be golden.
All right.
All right, so we will now come back into, out of recess and back into session. There were no decisions that were made, and I will adjourn the meeting. And then just stop recording. Set right at the bottom.